Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of War Thunder. And today I'm going to be talking about fighter aircraft, kind of like we did last time. Although last time it was fairly general what we talked about last time, and it really mostly applied to fighter aircraft. But I'm going to be talking about fighter aircraft again. And I'm mainly going to be talking about the kind of two different main types of fighter aircraft in this game, in terms of the way they play anyway, and it's actually fairly important as well, especially for someone who's coming into this game brand new and doesn't really know potentially much about World War II aircraft or how historically they fought and how they were designed to fight. So I'm going to be talking about the two types of aircraft in this game. I'm going to be demonstrating a bit how they work, and hopefully give you a little bit more insight into how they should be played and what to expect as well when you're going into certain nation's aircraft in this game, because each nation in this game's aircraft control and fly quite differently from the others in many cases. So anyway, last time we looked at biplanes, because we looked at reserves, and reserves are pretty much entirely biplanes except for the Americans. They get the little pea shooters, which are actually monoplanes. But we looked at biplanes mostly and reserve combat. Now biplanes are the first type of fighter aircraft I'm going to talk about. No, I don't literally mean biplanes are a type of aircraft, but what biplanes are turn fighters. Something called turn fighters. This basically means that the way these things fight and fly is by getting into dogfights with other aircraft. Lots and lots of turning to the left and right. Basically, when these guys are chasing someone down, or whether they're trying to shake someone off their tail, they're trying to outturn them by going to the left or the right and try and wheel around and end up on the enemy tail. That's basically the way these things fight, because that's what biplanes do. They're very good at turning. It's all to do with the fact that they've got, well, two sets of wings, and especially at low altitude is where these things excel. So, however, they are by no means the only aircraft in the game that is good at turn fighting at all. This, as you can see here, is a British Fury Mark 1. It's probably one of my favourite reserve aircraft, this one. Played it so bloody much, in fact, that I managed to get a camouflage unlock for it, which is why it looks like this, as opposed to the default Fury, which looks like it does on this icon here. Which you may have encountered if you picked the British as your first nation in this game, in your little reserve battles. But it's probably one of my favourite reserve planes, this one. And it's British, and the British are really, really good for turn fighters. In fact, pretty much turn fighters are kind of pretty much all they really do. I mean, with a few exceptions, turn fighters are really their kind of shtick. It's what they're good at. Because I've got a fairly low level setup here in terms of my aircraft available. I've got this Hurricane Mark 1. This is an exceptionally good turn fighter. This is one thing you'll find that characterises a lot of the British aircraft, certainly earlier on anyway, is that they are very manoeuvrable, relatively fast, but they have terrible armament. In this case, the Hurricane Mark 1 is armed with 8 7mm machine guns, which are not particularly amazing. They're kind of okay for the level it's flying at, but of course, historically in real life, the British aircraft during the Battle of Britain had real trouble dealing with the Bf-109s flown by the Germans, because German aircraft were equipped with cannons, which could tear through British aircraft no problem whatsoever, whereas these little machine guns were fairly weedy when it came to trying to deal with German bombers and even German fighters with fairly significant amounts of armour. So, but yeah, you have the Hurricane Mark 1, again, another pretty good turn fighter. You've got the Gladiators. I've got Tuck's Gladiator here, which isn't a premium gift aircraft. An ordinary Gladiator Mark 2. Hurricane Mark 2. And the Spitfire Mark 1, and the Spitfires in this game are really kind of the go-to turn fighters for a lot of people. The Spitfire is relatively fast. It has a relatively good rate of climb, but its main advantage is that it can turn incredibly well. This thing has a turn time bearing in mind this is a very well upgraded Spitfire with a very well, yeah, an exceptionally well trained crew as well. It has a turn time here, as you can see, of 14.8 seconds. That's actually a sharper turn time than this Fury Mark 1 here, which is saying something considering this is a biplane. Biplane might still outturn it at low altitude, but you know, for all intents and purposes, looking at the stats, this thing is one of the sharpest turning aircraft in the game when it's fully upgraded. And that's what they do. That's what they're designed to do. They're designed to outturn an enemy aircraft, get on their tail and shoot them down. And yeah, but the British aren't the only guys who can do this, by any stretch of the imagination. The Japanese are also a nation which are very, very good at this. And oh, right. Yes, avert your eyes, ladies and gentlemen. As you can see, I gave this particular Zero here a custom paint job. It was a failed attempt at psychological warfare on my part. I thought if I could distract enemy planes by my outrageous colour scheme, maybe I'd be able to try and escape them a bit easier, but alas, it did not work, and now I'm stuck with this silly painted Zero, which I'm going to have to clean up. But not now, anyway. Let's look at this one instead. There we go. The Japanese are really good with turn fighters as well. Specifically their Zeros, but also some of their other aircraft too. The Zeros are legendary turn fighters. These things are as agile and nimble as they come. Main reason being, these things have just about everything unnecessary stripped out of them. The reason the Japanese are able to make these things so light and maneuverable is simply because they put nothing in these aircraft that they didn't think was necessary. So these things have no armor at all whatsoever. Their fuel tanks in the wings here and here are not self-sealing, so if you end up in a fight with a Zero, make sure you try and shoot the root of the wings here, because that's where the fuel tanks are, and this thing will explode. There is a reason why the American pilots used to call Zeros Zippos after the lighter, because these things light up first time every time. Unfortunately, a bit of black graveyard humour there, but it's true. These things were incredibly fragile, and they are very fragile in War Thunder as well. It does not take a lot to shoot down a Zero. When you're flying a Zero, make sure to stay away as much as you can from enemy bombers, gunners, and never ever get into a head-on pass with another aircraft, because you will explode. But yeah, these things are also incredibly good turn fighters. In fact, pretty much, generally speaking, if you are a Spitfire pilot who likes to do lots of turn fights, if you see a Japanese Zero flying around, stay away from it, because it will outturn you. It will. The Zeros in this game, generally speaking, will outturn a Spitfire, and it's very satisfying to play in a Zero fighter, actually, and outturn an enemy Spitfire pilot who is not used to being outturned. Those guys can get quite cocky sometimes, and when you outturn them in a Zero full of machine gun and cannon fire and then fly off while they go down in flames, it's very satisfying. But yeah, so the Japanese are quite good at this. They have a whole bunch of Zeros. I've not unlocked them yet. I currently have 3. I have that monstrosity I just showed you earlier that was bright red. I have the A6M2, which is this early one, and I have the A6M3 Mod 22 here as well, which is a slightly ugly looking thing, but there it is. It's still pretty good. And they have a whole bunch of others as well, including some later fighter aircraft. They also get the Ki-61s, which are more durable than the Zeros, slightly less maneuverable though as a result, but they are still pretty good dogfighters. And they also get, if I can find it somewhere, they get the A5M4, this thing, which is actually very nimble, very low level, rank 1 aircraft, but for its level this thing is incredibly nimble as well. Turn time of 11 seconds, which is nonsense. Very good. I've won quite a few games in this aircraft against much higher level aircraft, simply because I was able to outturn them completely, and they were never ever able to catch me as a result. I was like a fly that they just couldn't swat. So that's a very nice aircraft, but they also get, if I can find it, wrong slot. That would probably be why. There it is. The Ki-43 Oscar, which was a plane flown by the Imperial Japanese Army Air Force, which again, very nimble and maneuverable, fantastic rate of climb, pretty damn fast, good armament. and another good turn fighter. So, yeah, turn fighters basically. That's what they do. They turn and they turn and they turn and they turn until they stop turning. And they usually only stop turning because they've killed the enemy they're after or they've been shot down. So that's what these things do, and they do it incredibly well. So that's pretty much what I'm going to show you first. Some turn fighters in action. So, alright, so I've loaded up a battle. Looks like we've got domination on Peleliu again, like we did in the first video I originally did for this game. Basically, the way this works is there are two airfields, in this case, on the map, and you have to capture them both, basically, to run down the enemy team's tickets in order to win. And to capture an airfield, you have to land on it. But anyway, you'll see how it works when we get going. Gonna jump into the Spitfire straight away. Best turn fighter I've got in this lineup, so makes sense to start with this one, I think. So here we are. Spitfire Mark 1. Beautiful aeroplane, really is. One of my favourite ones as a boy growing up. It was this thing. You know. I mean, fact, you know, I mean, just I defy you to find a 7-year-old boy in England that does not recognise a Spitfire on sight. It's just one of those aeroplanes. So anyway, let's get stuck in. I'm gonna circle up here for a while. See what's what. We've got Lag 3, A6M2N, another Lag 3, MiG 3, HE51. Another Lag 3. That's 3. Yeah, lots of Russians in this game by the looks of things then. That's okay by me. Lag 3s have nasty cannons on them, but I can outturn a Lag 3. I'm a turn fighter. That's what I'm good at. An IL-2 as well. You have 4 Lag 3s, 4 of them. This is absurd. Anyway, never mind. Let's go find someone we can pick on. This chap at the back here. He looks like a likely candidate. Going after one of our Lag 3s, actually, this fella. Now you see how tightly I'm turning here. There we go, couple of hits. Did I get him? No. Doesn't matter. I went a bit wide there, but again, very agile aircraft. I can easily turn in there and go after him. In fact, I'm going to give up on that fella. But you know what? No, I'm not. Yes, I am. This guy's an easier target. Set him on fire. Aircraft destroyed. Brilliant. Jump back onto this Lag 3. And he's gone down in flames as well. Excellent. Whoa, dodge the anti-air fire from those ships. Sorry, not ships, they're PT boats, I think. Or landing craft or something like that. Might as well go machine gun a few of them while we're here. A little bit of XP. Yeah, they were patrol boats. Anyway, there we go, 3 ground targets. Right, I'm going to climb away for a bit, get a bit more altitude. But you saw what I did there. I did lots and lots and lots of turning around, lots of sharp turns, keeping on the tails of enemies I was going after. Pardon me. Not afraid to lose speed while I'm doing it either. Low altitude, low speed. So long as I'm keep turning and stay agile, you're fine. You know, Spitfire pilots during the Battle of Britain were told never fly in a straight line for more than 30 seconds in the combat area. That's because if you fly in a straight line, as in a Spitfire, well, you're a sitting duck. You're not playing to your strengths. Your strengths are the fact that you can maneuver very, very well. The Spitfire the only thing that could outturn the Spitfire during the Battle of Britain was the British Hurricane, funnily enough. So this thing could outturn ME-109s all day long. Of course, ME-109s didn't play to the Spitfire's strengths. They had a whole different way of fighting, something which I'll show you a bit of later. Hopefully. What have we got here? Cheeky P3 looking like he's going to go try and capture our airfield over here. Either that or he's going to try and bomb this Lag 3 trying to land on the airfield. No, he's going for a landing, alright. He's not going to make it though. Nope, that was a bit of a failure. He came in too high and too fast. And now he's going to pay for it. There we go. So this is a turn fighter, the quintessential turn fighter in War Thunder. Any War Thunder veteran will tell you that as soon as he sees a Spitfire, and you know it's very relatively close to him, then he needs to watch out. Especially if he gets a Spitfire on his tail, and you're not in an aircraft fast enough to outrun it, then you're in trouble, because a Spitfire is going to stick to you no matter what. There's very little you can do, certainly in an arcade battle anyway, to shake one of these things. Well, that Live 15 Russian biplane in the wrong neck of the woods. Poor bugger. Never mind. Don't know what he was thinking though. Probably trying to maybe go in and capture our airfield, but he overshot it, so I don't know. So we've got a bunch of guys that are much higher altitude than me. I don't particularly appreciate that. Let's climb a bit. Decent climb rate on this thing, thankfully. Some turn fighters don't have very good climb rates. The Zeros are probably a good example of that. Oh, little P-26 going after some of our ships by the looks of things. Although I don't know what damage he's thinking he's going to try and do. Maybe he's going to try and land our airfield instead, trying to sneak around this way. What are you doing, my little friend? Other than getting shot to pieces by me, of course. Oh, no, he survived that. I overshot him completely. I was going way too fast. Never mind, flat got him by the looks of things. Oh, no, he was, No, what the hell did happen to him? Oh, never mind. The battle logs at the bottom right there, they go by way too fast. There's no way to scroll back through them either. Ooh, lots of enemies coming in over here. Ki-61. Japanese aircraft I showed you earlier. Not a bad turn fighter. It can't outturn a Spitfire though. I'm trying to get in a good quality dogfight at the minute, so I can really show you what it's like to be doing some proper turn fighter stuff. Oh dear, my guns have gone. But he's on fire apparently. His engine's probably going to die in a minute. 7, 6, 5, waiting for my machine guns to time out again. And reload. 1, go. I see he's going to, yeah, he was going to try and turn there, but he wasn't turning fast enough. 1, because he was already damaged, and 2, because he doesn't have as good turn rate as me. And look, again, see, I'm turning right around here to go and get at these guys. And I'm not worried about losing speed, because so long as I stay agile, I should be fine. He's on fire. Let's go for this Ki-45. Oh, hello. No, Chaika's made himself a target instead. Go after him. He can turn pretty well, but unfortunately it looks like he's got tunnel vision. He's completely ignoring the fact that there's someone on his tail, and he's dead as a result. If he potentially, perhaps if I was in any other Spitfire and not this one, he could have potentially outturned me and escaped. But he didn't. He just stuck to that enemy target he was trying to kill. Presumably he thought, well, damn, I'm probably dead, so I might as well try and get a kill before I do die. Which in his case was a very silly thing to do, because he had barely seconds left if he kept flying in a straight line like that. So again, got to reload those machine guns. You see how quickly you run out of ammo in this as well. You know, fighter planes during World War II did not carry absurd amounts of ammo at all by any stretch of the imagination. No, very limited amounts. In fact, I'm spraying away here willy-nilly, probably way more than I really should be doing. In historical battles in this game, you get limited ammo, which you can only get replenished if you land at an airfield. There we go. Dead buffalo. I-16 coming up behind. An Ishak. This is a Russian plane. It's a very silly looking plane, but it's actually an incredibly nimble and dangerous little bastard. Whoa! As you can see there, he went into a head-on with me, and he nearly got me. One of my wings is completely screwed. There we go. The other Spitfire Mark 1 got him. Oh, hello. We got a Yak 7 on my tail. The Yak 7 is an interesting plane. It's relatively fast. It's got a nice big cannon on the front, but as you can see, look, I completely outturned him then. Put a few shots into his front. turning radius on this thing is not as good as a Spitfire because a Yak 7 is not a turn fighter. And the Spitfire is. He's probably going into the drink, I'm not sure. So whoa! Well done, asshole. That was a ram, ladies and gentlemen. I got rammed by a member of my own team. And unfortunately, that tends to happen quite a lot in this game. At least in arcade mode, anyway. That was completely his fault, I don't mind saying that. He was coming up behind me, so I had no visual on him at all whatsoever, so there was no way I could have avoided that. He was coming up behind me, he just came up straight underneath me, cut my wing off. The match ended anyway, so I guess it doesn't really matter, but right at the end, it's kind of a miracle actually, for an arcade game, I didn't get that happen to me more, really. In higher ranked arcade games it happens all the bloody time, because fighters tend to hunt in packs, and therefore you're much more likely to get your wings blown off or something by a friendly. But yeah, that's something to watch out for. But in any case, I think that was a pretty excellent example, especially towards the end there. Pretty much excellent demonstration of the turn fighter. Especially against that Yak 7 just now. That's how a turn fighter fights. Relatively low altitude a lot of the time, because dogfights in this game tend to happen at low altitude. You're flying slowly as well, because you're bleeding off loads of speed in your turns, but it doesn't matter. You're so agile, it's not an issue. You can outturn and outmaneuver anything that tries to get on you. Like that Yak 7, he tried to come down and attack me, paid for it eventually because he couldn't outturn me. He made the mistake of trying to outturn me, as you saw. He did start turning. He didn't try and zoom off into the distance and outpace me via speed. No, he tried to outturn me and he paid for it. So there you go. That's what we call turn fighters. Now, some of you may recall earlier, at the beginning of this video, I did say there were two kinds of fighter aircraft in this game. And so far we've only covered one of them. The turn fighter, as we saw with the Spitfire in that last section. So what's the other kind of fighter in this game? Well, there are different terms for it. Some call them energy fighters, some others call them boom and zoomers. I interchangeably use both, really, depending. But they basically mean the same thing. Now, what's a boom and zoom fighter? Well, the BF-109E3 here, it's a bit of an odd aircraft in this particular game because, and admittedly this is a fully upgraded one, so its stats have got a serious boost, but the BF-109E3 is a perfect historical example of a boom and zoom fighter. Now, I particularly like this one because it actually has a decent turn time and rate of climb as well and everything like that, which, does make it actually quite versatile compared to some boom and zoom fighters, particularly American ones. But what is the boom and zoom fighter? Well, basically, it follows a different type of air-to-air combat with fighters. To give you illustrate a kind of with a historical example here, going back to the Battle of Britain. Spitfires, Hurricanes, Messerschmitts, like this one. In fact, this is the very kind of model that was used in the Battle of Britain. It's actually decorated with Battle of Britain camouflage at present. Now, the RAF would fly their fighters out, searching for the enemy, after radar had spotted them. And the RAF doctrine at the time basically ruled that friendly fighters would basically fly in very tight, close formations together with each other. Formations of like 4 planes, all flying very, very close, almost wingtip to wingtip, very close together. Now, you see, there was a bit of a problem with this. Now, as for why they did it, I'm not really sure exactly. I think it was really just a case of that was how it had been done before, and that is what the rulebook said, and that was how they were going to fly. Now, the Germans weren't that bloody stupid, basically, and eventually the RAF wised up and they stopped doing it. But Spitfires and Hurricanes, they would fly in little close formations, and anyone who's played a proper full-on simulator flight sim, like say IL-2 Sturmvik, and has tried to fly in close formation, will tell you that flying in very close formation is not easy at all. It's very, very difficult to do. It requires a lot of concentration, and constantly keeping your eye on the planes around you and your speed and your throttle and all that kind of thing. It's very difficult to actually fly in very close formation. It requires a lot more concentration than you might imagine. All that concentration that was going into flying in close formation meant that they weren't paying very much attention to their surroundings. And so that's where the German fighters had their advantage. What would happen is that the Bf-109s, after taking off, they would climb to a very, very high altitude. And they would circle around. And they would find these formations of British fighters flying down below them in very close formation. And what they would do is they would actually typically maneuver themselves into a position where they actually had the sun to their backs. Where the British, just even if they were looking around, couldn't really see these guys very easily at all because they were in the middle of the sun, and hence the age-old phrase "the Hun in the sun." And what would happen is they would, with the sun to their backs, they would fly down at high speed with these nasty-looking cannons in their wings here and the machine guns in the nose. Fly down at high speed and what is called bouncing the enemy planes. They would bounce enemy Hurricanes and Spitfires from above, where they would fly down, basically, in a dive, high speed, fly down, pick a target, unload an unholy amount of cannons and machine guns into it, then pull up, fly... Oh, thanks for that. Oh, it's a friend of mine. Sending me stupid messages, thank you for that. I did tell him I was recording a video. He probably did that on purpose, so screw him. Anyway, so what they would do is they'd fly down and they would bounce these British fighters from above, and then they would nose up, keep flying off because they've got loads of speed. They've built up loads and loads of speed over this dive down. They've unloaded their ammo into these British planes, and then they would pull up, zoom off at high altitude, and you just get away really fast because these things had a great rate of climb on them, better than the Spitfires and Hurricanes. These things could climb much faster than those guys, and they would just leave the British planes in their dust, basically. Fly off where they couldn't catch them, then they would circle around a bit more up high, and then, if necessary, come zooming back down and do it again. And yeah, as a result, that is what is called booming and zooming, because you fly down, you boom, you fire all your big cannons and heavy ordnance, and then you zoom all the way off up to a nice high altitude, where you come back down and you do it again. That's called a boom and zoom fighter. Now, typically, boom and zoom fighters you'll find have very good armament, but they don't, and they're very, very fast as well, but what they don't have is a terrifically good turning rate, and often they don't have a particularly great rate of climb, but that doesn't matter because they're going so fast when they go into that climb. They'll also have a very high max altitude. You see, this thing has 11,300, I believe. I might be wrong, but yeah, like the max out. Ooh, hang on a minute. That's 1,300. Hurricane max altitude, yeah, 1,100. I believe the Messerschmitt can actually fly higher. Yeah. Oh, I don't know. Anyway, but typically, yeah, these guys had in real life had a better altitude, max altitude than the British planes, and they performed better at high altitude as well. But so that's what's called booming and zooming, and yeah, that's a lot of planes in this game are what we call boom and zoomers or energy fighters. And you will remember if you watched my previous video that I talked about maintaining a good energy balance, whereby you are either going low and fast or high and, well, hopefully high and fast as well. But basically you're either high up or you're going fast, or preferably both. You're maintaining that good energy balance, and there are planes in this game which rely entirely, their success relies completely on maintaining that good energy balance, going fast and staying high, basically, and the Bf-109 here is a good example of that. It's a boom and zoomer, or an energy fighter. Some people will tell you those are two different things. I feel that they're basically pretty much interchangeable, because any energy fighter can boom and zoom pretty well. And that's pretty much just how you use them. It's the most effective way of using them anyway, certainly in historical battles. Maybe not so much in arcade. I feel that a lot of the boom and zoom aircraft, especially the American ones, have a really tough time in arcade because that flight model just isn't very suited to that kind of play. At least you won't rack up as many kills in arcade by booming and zooming as you will dogfighting with a Spitfire or a Zero or something. So that's something worth bearing in mind. you know, it's particularly true in the Americans' case. They get a lot of boom and zoom type aircraft. P-39 Air Cobra, for instance. Rubbish turn time, not so great rate of climb. Pretty fast, though. And it has magnificent armament. It has a bunch of machine guns, is that a 37mm cannon? Yeah, it's a 37mm cannon in the nose of this thing, which is utterly lethal. That will tear through just about any aircraft in the game, that thing will. 37mm cannon. Very slow firing, but it has one hell of a punch. You have other aircraft like the P-40, slightly more manoeuvrable. Thank you for loading up finally. But it also has a good 1 second burst mass, 3.23 kilograms. It has, you know, where is it? Good high max speed, 585 kilometers an hour. It's pretty good. Yeah, it's not so great turn time, but it does have that really good, you know, 1 second burst mass. 6 12.7mm Browning machine guns. Really nice armament, this thing, and plus this thing, one thing that makes this particular plane pretty great is that it has loads of ammo as well. Yeah, you will get that with a lot of American planes, especially the later ones, like the P-47, the Thunderbolt. This is a perfect example of a boom and zoomer. This was pretty much designed for booming and zooming when it wasn't busy doing ground attack missions. That's a boom and zoomer. Again, it has rubbish turning. The where is it? The F4U Corsair. Again, another boomer and zoomer. Rubbish turn time, decent rate of climb-ish. Good armament. The P-51 Mustang, where are you, my friend? Yes, this, again, another boom and zoom aircraft. You find this with pretty much all the American fighters, actually. It's just their thing. And you do see a lot of American players particularly struggling with this game because they naturally are inclined to pick American planes as their first kind of air force of choice in this game. And yeah, the problem with that is that the American planes are actually some of the most tricky to master in the game. I even now, I consider myself pretty damn good at this game, but even now I still have the most trouble dealing with the American aircraft than I do with any of the other air forces. Japanese, fine with. British, fantastic with. The Russians, just about got the handle on these guys. Germans, absolutely love flying my German planes. I love these guys to bits. They're awesome. The Americans, though, oof, really tough. I have serious trouble with these guys in arcade battles. Not so bad in historical battles because boom and zoom tactics in historical battles are much easier to pull off because the planes behave a lot more realistically. For example, in arcade battles, if you were to boom and zoom in a BF-109 against a bunch of Spitfires, there's a good chance that the Spitfires would still be able to catch you because the arcade flight model gives them extra speed and, you know, lessens the effect of your ability to boom and zoom. But in historical battles, these things rock at it. They're awesome. Most historical battles I do are in BF-109s, simply because, well, one, the wait time for German planes in historical battles at the minute seems to be very low, which is always nice, but these things are just awesome in historical battles for doing that boom and zoom stuff. So there you go. So basically, that's the other kind of fighter in this game. You have turn fighters and you have the boom and zoomer, or the energy fighter if you want to call it that. Now, I'm going to load up a battle now and I'm going to do my best to show you the way these things kind of work, basically. I'll do my best, and we'll see how I get on. I'm not particularly. I'm much better with dogfighters than I am with boom and zoomers, I will admit, but I'm getting better at these guys. So this next bit could be full of buckets of fail. It could also go very nicely and smoothly and all that sort of thing. So I guess we'll find out. All right, we're in a battle. It's yet another domination battle. Seems to be all I'm getting in the minute, actually. The last 3 battles I've done now have been air domination ones with the airfields that you need to capture, but never mind, it doesn't really matter. This one is Mozdok. This one is always a bit of a laugh because it only has 2 airfields and can therefore sometimes go on for quite a long time. So anyway, I'm going to jump into my P-39N0 Air Cobra. It's armed with 4 7mm Browning machine guns, 2 12mm Browning machine guns, and a 37mm M4 cannon in the nose. It's not very maneuverable. It's pretty fast though, and it has amazing frontal armament, which means, hopefully, I'll be able to give you some classic boom and zoom with this thing. Or I might fail horribly, of course. I've not done very well with the P-39 Air Cobra in, previously. Actually, it's never gone very well for me in this plane. But I've been shot down by these things plenty of times, so they're definitely not terrible aircraft. It's just I'm a terrible pilot with them, I think, most of the time. So anyway, here we are. Interesting aircraft. It's very, very strange aircraft as well, actually. Weird design. Its engine, you might be able to see the exhaust ports there at the side. Its engine is actually behind the pilot's seat. It's not in the nose. The landing gear is in the nose, weirdly enough. The engine is actually behind the pilot's seat, in the back of the aircraft. Very weird thing, but anyway. Historically, hello, we've got a Yak 7 down there. He may be our first victim, but I think he's probably going to get killed by that Spitfire in the... Yeah, no, he's dead. I'm not even going to bother. So historically, the Air Cobra, I may end up accidentally calling it just an Air Cobra, by the way. Force of habit. Sorry about that. But historically, the US Army didn't actually want a damn thing to do with this plane at all. They didn't like it very much. At least as far as I recall. That's the story as far as it goes as I remember. It's been a while since I actually looked up a book on this stuff, but anyway. The US Army didn't like this plane very much, and most of these that actually saw service were actually as part of the Lend-Lease program to Russia, which, if you don't know what that is, it's basically where the US and the UK basically sent arms and equipment to Russia to help the Russians fight the Germans on the Eastern Front. And among the many things they sent over were lots and lots of aircraft that the British and Americans had very little use for. In this case, it happened to be the Air Cobra. Lots of these were sent to the Russians, and the Russians, I think, had some fairly good success with these things. The British also sent Hurricanes over as well, I believe, because the Hurricane got replaced eventually with the Typhoon, which is another, by the way, another good boom and zoom aircraft. But anyway, enough waffling. Let's see if I can actually... You know what, I have a feeling right now I'm going to get shot down by those two BF-109s over there. There's a chap over here, I think he's coming straight for me. But anyway, it doesn't matter, I've got 2 Air Cobras, so and a P-40, so we'll see if we can't... Right, KI-61 down here. Yeah, let's go for this guy. Actually, no. Let's try this Yak 7. Oh! And he set me on fire. I got no head-on pass with the Yak. Never a smart idea. I think he set my fuel tank on fire by the looks of things. I'm pretty dead duck. See, I told you I'd never have good luck in an Air Cobra. I suck in these things. This does have a lot to do with the fact that I have much to learn when it comes to boom and zoom aircraft. But it also just sometimes comes down to bad luck. Never mind. We'll jump into the other P-39 I've got. You do get 2 of these things at the same rank with the Americans, so you do see a lot of these things flying around. See, there's one over there, a friendly one. They're all chasing a Wellington, apparently. Who the hell brings a Wellington to an air domination battle? I do not know, but anyway. Let's fly over this way, and I'll see again if I can try and jump down on someone and get some boom and zoom going on. But unfortunately, the enemy team looks like they're not going to give me the opportunity. I mean, look at us. We're all spread out. Half our team is going after one sodding Wellington. Everyone else is all over the place, whereas the enemy team, they're all clustered together. They're playing smart. We're playing stupid. Unfortunately. If this game comes down to who has the most aircraft left at the end of the game, which it may well do, because it doesn't look like we're going to easily capture either team's airfield, I have a feeling this lot are going to win. Oh, an LA-5, really? In this game? That is a very high-level Russian aircraft that's very nasty, and I hate them. But let's see if we can't go and get him. Again, see, look, I'm going down from high altitude. There we go. I got some hits on him. I didn't get him, though. I didn't kill him, but that doesn't matter. I'm just going to keep going. Looks like someone else got him anyway. We probably got an assist for that. I'm not sure. So anyway, I kept going, as you saw. climbed up to a high altitude, zoomed away, and that's how you do this. That's how you play a boom and zoom aircraft. You just... Oh, there's a BF-109 over there. I don't like the look of him at all. That's how you play a boom and zoom aircraft. At least that's how they were played historically. You go in, you pick a target, you pick an exit vector, and then you zoom off after you've shot at them. It doesn't matter if you've shot them down or not. You don't want to be turning around and going back for another pass, because that'll lose your speed. It'll damage your energy balance. You see, these BF-109s, we've seen quite a few of them around here, just hovering up high over here, like this guy over here, Ben Firoff. Seen him doing this a couple of times. He's got this nailed down to a T. He knows exactly what he's doing. He's doing pretty much the same thing I'm attempting to do and failing at miserably. He's waiting up there in the clouds. You can't see him at the minute because he's in the clouds hiding. He's waiting to find a target he can pounce on. He's going down there, he's shooting them to pieces, and then he's going back up again. You don't necessarily need to do that with a BF-109 in arcade battles, because I've said arcade battles are kind of fairly forgiving in terms of the flight model. Ah, damn, he didn't manage to get him. Right, I'm going to go back down now because I need to build up some more speed. Let's see if I can't take out this Yak-9T while we're at it. Oh, someone's on our tail. Right, well, don't try and turn. That'll only get you killed faster. There we go, we got a hit on that Yak-9 before it was killed. So now I'm going to climb up. The buffalo, just down there, who was on our tail, has been taken out by our team, thankfully, so I'm going to live to fight another day, by the looks of things. Right, I'm going to come around, climb a little bit more. We'll see if we can't find someone else to go after. But I think, as you can probably already tell, this is a somewhat more difficult way of flying. And believe me, you can't fly an Airacobra like a Spitfire. If you try to fly an Airacobra like a Spitfire, you'll die. It's that simple. Speaking of Spitfires, oh, he's dead. Never mind. And this is the problem I think a lot of players have. I mean, the US Air Force is the most popular one in the game at the minute, and that is quite simply because most players of this game are Americans. And they want to fly their American aircraft, and I don't bloody blame them. I like flying my British aircraft, it's fine. But the problem is, American fighter planes in this game are not the best fighter plane. Well, you know, there's no best fighter plane in this game, by any stretch of the imagination, but they're not the best ones to start with. Oh, there we go, very nice. Now, yeah, we didn't manage to get him. I'm not going down after that guy and trying to outturn him. It's only a Typhoon, Mark 1A, so he's not a very good turn fighter either. In fact, I don't know what the bloody hell he thinks he's doing down there. Getting killed by the looks of things. I'm gonna... Yeah, no, he's dead. We got the assist though. AR2 going down in flames as well. I'm gonna go up, get some more height. Actually, so far, this is probably one of the more successful runs I've had in an Airacobra, actually. I'm just not very good with these things at all. Much better with a P40. Bit more agile, those things. You can afford to turn a little more often with them. Speaking of P40s, there's a Yak-9K down here, actually. I might just switch to him. If you see an easier target, go for it. Don't mess around trying to chase this one guy that you might have some particular desire to kill. Maybe he's a particular type of aircraft which you hate, like Yak-9Ts, for example. You know, or maybe you've got you want to get revenge on him because he killed you earlier. Don't do that, especially not in a plane like this, an energy fighter or a boom and zoom fighter or whatever. Go for whatever target's the easiest. If you shoot at someone and you don't manage to kill him, keep going. Find a new target. Just keep going. Keep that speed up. Don't lose speed. That's the main thing to, you know, be aware of with these things. If you remember to keep a good energy balance the whole time you're fighting with these, and you don't lose your speed, try not to unnecessarily lose your altitude, you'll be fine. Oh, someone on our tail. That sounds like a BF-109. I bet you anything. No, it's a Lag 3, never mind. Come on, team, come and give me a hand here. Seriously, guys. Guys, you're everywhere, and this guy's on my tail. I'm making him an easy target for you. What are you doing? Well, that's it. We're done for. Lag 3 just killed me there. Lag 366. That, by the way, is another good boom and zoom fighter. Again, a little bit more versatile. It's more like this P40 here I'm about to jump into. A little bit more versatile. It's a little more agile. But again, that's how you play those things. They're energy fighters that require a good energy balance in order to succeed. They're not Spitfires. So yeah, fair play to the Lag 3 guy there. He seemed to have precisely a good idea. Precisely the right idea. He saw me down below him. I was an easy target, so he went for me. Stuck around, like, even though there were people going after him all around him, he kept on me and kept flying in a straight line, kept his speed up, and I believe he got out of that alive. In fact, it might be him over there. Just because you need to keep your speed up. If you start going off into a turn fight, you'll instantly start losing speed, and because you're less maneuverable anyway, that'll mean you'll just get completely annihilated. An ME410 pilot down here. He's done for. Just a question of who gets the credit for it. Not me, apparently. Didn't have to get an assist, but I don't have to get the kill. Fair enough, really. An HE-111 coming in here. This is a German bomber. Deceptively tough, those things, actually. I'm going to be slightly wary of him. He's got lots of gunners, too. This guy's trained up his gunnery crew. Then he could get off some good hits on us, but we'll see if we can't take him down, because he's blatantly trying to go and land on our airfield. A pretty standard tactic in this game on air domination missions like this is to... there we go. Is to actually pick a bomber and try and fly in and land on the enemy airfields, because bombers, in addition to being tough and can soak up a lot of enemy firepower while going into the landing, unlike a fighter, a bomber is a lot easier to land at high speed. You can actually get its wheels on the ground, and you don't actually have to land and come to a stop to capture one of these airfields. You just have to get your wheels on the runway for a long enough period of time to actually get the capture. Are we going to get this guy or someone else? Ooh, it's difficult to say. I'm really too far away to be taking pot shots at him right now. I need to be around 400 meters away, but what the hell, let's just unload on him. Enemy kill assist, there we go. You'll get a lot of assists while you're playing energy fighters. You will notice that a lot. Quite often you will not, unless you've got exceptionally good firepower, if you're flying a Focke-Wulf 190 or something with massive amounts of cannons on it, you'll find quite often you won't manage to actually outright kill someone when going into that diving attack. If you're lucky, you'll get a chance to come back round and then zoom down on him again. But quite a lot of the time you will wound an enemy quite badly and someone else will finish him off and get the kill, and you'll only get the assist. That's just the way of things, unfortunately. That's simply how arcade battles work. Yeah, see, all that will happen. You'll go in to dive on someone and then somebody else down there, and a Spitfire will get them first. So there you go. But that's pretty much how energy fighters work. You know, if you want to really maximize, though, the advantage these kind of planes actually have, you really want to be playing historical battles mode. Because in historical battles mode, that is where the various aircraft's real life abilities and advantages become, you know, much more apparent. You know, they're much more obvious and useful. You know, a BF-109 or a Thunderbolt in arcade battles is gonna struggle a bit with trying to pull off successful boom and zoom tactics. The only plane I've ever managed to really successfully do that with in arcade battles has been the Hawker Typhoon Mark 1B, simply because that plane is so ridiculously fast that even in arcade battles it can outrun just about anyone. However, oh hello, Mr. Bowfighter, what are you doing? What does he think he's doing, indeed? There we go. What happened? Did we... no, we just outright destroyed his aircraft. Did wonder if we managed to get hit on the pilot there. We came in for the from the correct angle to actually do that, but nope, just looked like we trashed his plane. It looks like the enemy team's short on aircraft. Yeah, a lot of their players have quit, and a couple more of them are, yeah, 4 more of them I think are still on the, yeah, on the plane selection screen. So it looks like we may win this one, not by, hello, you cheeky bugger, I see you there. Not by capturing their airbase, but actually by just destroying all their planes. Yeah, look at this guy. He went around the entire team. Oh, there's a KI-49 over there as well. But yeah, someone else has spotted them and he's saying to take them down. I'm going to do my best. But HE-111s, they're tough bastards, as you can see. He knocked out one of his gunners, but... ah, there we go. BF-109E managed to finish him off. Unfortunately, he's captured our airfield. I'm coming way too fast and too high. This is not going to work. Screw it, I'm not even going to try. I'll try that again. Recapture this. It's a pointless effort at the minute, really. I'm just doing this to get a few extra points, and yeah, the IL-4 over there just managed to do it anyway. So it doesn't matter. But there you go. Energy fighters. Boom and zoomers, whatever you want to call them. That's how they work. That's how they play. I was probably the wrong person to give you an example, because as you've probably been able to tell by now, I'm a bit naff with them, honestly. But never mind. At least I'm naff with air cobras. I seem to do better in these things. P-40. Love this plane to bits. So yeah, there you go. We won that game. Bit of a fluke, really. I didn't help with that at all. I think the credit there goes to the rest of our team, really. It'll be interesting to see how well I scored. Oh, horribly, yeah. No, right down at the bottom of the table. He's got some bonus XP for this being the first victory with this Air Force of the day. What else did we get? New modification for the Kitty Hawk. Ooh, the 100 octane fuel. That's a good upgrade. Yeah, a bunch of upgrades for that and the Air Cobra. Sorry, Air Cobra. That's the correct word. But anyway, there you go. The 2 types of fighter aircraft in this game. I'm sorry, this is probably a very, very long video, and I apologise for that. But it was a point worth making, and if anyone was going to do it, it might as well have been me in my ponderous, meandering way. So, thanks for watching, everyone. Keep your heads on a swivel, and I'll see you again pretty damn soon.